Hello, and welcome to episode 3 of Baki Talki. This is a show, of course, where I invite my friends on and I ask them about what they think about Baki. Usually they haven't watched much of the show except for the episode that we're talking about, which today is episode 3 of Baki. So, without further ado, let's introduce our co-host of the day, Phil.
Hello. Welcome. Nice to be a part of the Baki Talki for sure.
Thanks. You don't have to say hello. That's sort of my thing. You can have your own greeting if you want.
Okay, well, I'll have to come up with one for the next one, but I don't know how if I'll last to a next one. We'll see.
If you keep stealing my stuff,
quite the experience.
I don't think you're coming back. Okay, so just a quick icebreaker before we get into it.
Sure.
I just like to find out, first off, just your sort of taste. So other than Baki, what are some shows you're watching?
Well, right now, I'm definitely been watching that final little season of Ozarks. I've been really digging Domino Masters on ABC, I think it is. Full disclosure, I also have TiVo, so I literally only fast forward to when they're doing the topple time. Otherwise, it is way too long. That show could be easily 20 minutes, but it's a full hour.
I feel like it could be 5 minutes. Just show the dominoes.
Well, you do need those little, cut to commercials right when they're about to do it, just to add that extra level of suspense. Other than that, I can't think of anything. Top Chef as a given for me.
No, this is good. That, yeah. You're watching Ozarks so you can keep up with people in conversation, and then you have your passion project of watching dominoes fall over.
It's really inspired me to set up chain reactions in my bedroom.
Ooh, okay. All right, and one last question. Before watching this episode, what history do you have with Baki? Have you ever watched any of it? What did you know about the show going in?
Well, so I knew nothing about the show whatsoever going into it, but I did for homework very quickly watch the first 2 episodes, whether that helped me or not.
Let's jump into this episode. So I sort of broke it down into 4 major scenes that happen. So let's start off right at the beginning at the dojo.
That's generous.
Can you describe what happens in the dojo at the beginning?
Well, I can only describe some sort of absolute beefcake of a Santa Claus comes in.
Yep.
And then he gets him with the old shoe trick.
I don't care who you want to see. No shoes in the dojo, old man.
You'll have to forgive me.
I don't know if that's a common move in Japanese martial arts, but the old classic, I gotta go tie my shoe. Well, bam.
This is why people say no shoes in the dojo,
I've never seen it being such a clear advantage, but obviously, like, if you know what you're doing, it's not even fair.
So Mr. Beefcake, or Dorian, as he's called, he throws his shoes at Katsumi, I believe is his name. So where does it go from there?
Like the son, I think so from what I can gather too with my he's like the son of a legendary martial arts fighter.
Yep.
So then Dorian, I actually wrote this one down because it's like, bam, you got the quadruple median line strike.
You're gonna pay for that, you cheating bastard!
One hell of a center line strike, I'll say.
Just right into Dorian's chest, just like. And I guess normally that's a move that's going to take a man down, but not the beefcake that is, these sinister outlaws. I don't know, the most evil, what was their...
Most evil death row inmates, I believe.
Right. Yeah, and then all of a sudden, out of the blue comes, I guess, his dad. Dopo? Is that his name?
No.
Oh, I don't. I'm very confused who the other man in the ring was.
Dopo does show up. Dopo is his dad. That's Retsu, the master of Chinese Kempo.
Okay, so then Retsu comes, saves the day.
You think you can just walk out of here after that? Get back to the middle of the dojo.
Almost gets blinded
he looks
by...
completely different than him.
I mean, like the looks of these characters are something that can. Yeah, I'm not gonna go too into it, but there's a lot going on.
That's fair.
But then, he almost gets blinded, which is insane, by like a little string there.
So I wanted to talk about that. So Dorian is a bit of a sneaky guy. He uses a bit of what I would describe as underhanded moves One of them is he plucks out his own eyelash and then fires it like a blow dart, aiming to puncture Retsu's eyeball. Luckily, Retsu is, he's been around the block, seen this move before.
He does the old do 100 flips in the air and then land on do a headstand to dodge it, which is like a classic dodge. He could have just ducked, but no.
And he didn't even dodge it that well. It still hit his eyelid. With enough force to make him bleed.
I mean, these guys are seen as like super martial arts, like super fast. I don't know. Like, he could have dodged that, I feel like. So then Dorian being classic, bad guy, dirty tricks Dorian, just decides to drink what I can only assume is like pure gasoline, and then just fucking light that bitch up.
Yeah, he just lights the whole area around him on fire. Oh yeah, and he just breathes fire onto Retsu.
I look forward to the day you and I meet again.
We gotta put it out!
Honestly, Retsu, I think we can agree he didn't do a great job of dodging the eyelash, but he handles being put on fire pretty well, I'd say.
Well, all I have is he just yells the fire out. It seems like it seems to work pretty well. Just yelling really loudly.
Well, it's like when you see a bear in the woods. Like, you're not supposed to run away. You have to act big and tough, and then it'll go away.
Yeah, stop, drop, and roll is for, obviously, like white belts, yellow belts. But then as you progress within the world of martial arts, that's when they teach you, no, you have to fight the fire head on.
Stop, drop, and roll is what you yell at the fire.
Like, get away from me, so you're going fucking down. Oh, sorry. Can I swear on this?
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, my sponsors. Harry's Razors doesn't want me to say fuck. Yeah, no, that's fine. Yeah, that was a pretty wild opening fight, I would say.
Well, and this is where I got bones to pick right off the bat, because I watched this episode 2. You have this this sweet martial arts match between Katsumi and Retsu.
Yeah.
And they're pulling out all the stops with these 360 animation things. Like, I don't know where the heck that came from, but all of a sudden this 2D anime show is now has weird 3D fight animation. Yeah. They only decided to introduce that for 30 seconds, and then right into this episode, it's just they don't even actually action the fighting. It's just they make a quick move, and then it's just a streak of blue light.
Yeah, I don't think this show had a big budget. I think that it means that a lot of times, instead of showing a fight, they will just show a laser beam where a kick should be. And when they do fight, it is hideous. We were talking about that in the last episode, but those CG fights, I don't know your opinion on it. I thought it looked like a bad Street Fighter gameplay. It's
just, like I said, everything is so two-dimensional. It's very jarring to all of a sudden have three-dimensional characters in a two-dimensional world. I imagine it's akin to Dr. Manhattan walking through time and space, having to interact with beings who are only taking up time. It's all of a sudden these beings are just.
That would explain the respect that all of those martial artists just are they're just in awe of these fighters.
Well, maybe that's why their moves are so fast. It's because they're actually happening in a dimension they have no concept of.
They just blink and it's done.
What a way to start an episode, though. I think it really does an effective job of these are the most evil death row convicts in the land. They're just coming in and whipping the floor of these esteemed martial artists.
And Dorian's just it always feels unfair when Dorian's in the fight, because he just looks like literally 4 feet taller than everyone else.
This is the classic manga or an anime trope of you can really pick the main character out of a crowd. These people are all I don't know what's going on with their muscles and their height, but it's next level in this episode.
If I saw this guy on the street, I would just turn around. The next part of that I wanted to talk about, it's weird because it's one of the most normal Baki episodes, I think, in the show. In that Baki has a subplot by himself that's sort of character development, and like he doesn't fight anybody. It almost feels like we're learning about Baki. Like, so can you quickly describe like Baki's little subplot this episode?
Well, if I can only describe it as like the weirdest anime montage ever.
As I told you before, today we're doing your physical fitness tests.
It's so bizarre. It's essentially just a bunch of like concurrent scenes of Baki like trying to prove he's real. If I'm assuming I have the order of this episode correct, Baki trying to show how strong he is and then epically failing because he's too strong in a sense.
Yeah. He does that like 13 times in a row.
Yeah, no, it happens way too many times. You could have done it maybe twice, and I think the point would have been made. Just the entire, like, idea. Like, this is almost, like, too cliche. No way.
Yeah.
But also so jarring from, like, the first scene, like you were saying, to then just have this, like, and here's a guy at high school trying to, like, run a kilometer, and he sucks. And it's like, what? It's very strange. His super strength really doesn't make any sense in the context of what he's doing, because it just like how can he not just do a pull-up? Like he's so strong, he really just rips the bar apart. Like
I am waiting.
What is wrong with you, Baki?
That one, honestly, it makes me think, it's like, is this like a riddle? Like, is this even possible to like, it feels like a physics problem to like pull yourself up through a pull-up bar so hard you break the bar.
That would maybe make for a good, you have X force going in this direction and the force of gravity is this direction.
I have one Baki worth of force.
So to summarize quickly off the top of my memory, there is the sprint, which he puts his foot into the ground so hard it erupts and makes a little crater. And
then everyone goes, oh, the maintenance crew has really been slacking off. It's really gone to shit.
Whoa, look at this. There's a huge hole in the track.
The ground must have been really loose there.
Boy, the maintenance crew is really sloughing off.
He then tries to do, I don't even know, it kind of looks like a shot put, but he throws it straight into the ground, but I don't know if that's supposed to be intentional or not.
I feel like he just whiffed it.
Yeah, that's what I kind of think too. But then it ended up going, like 100 feet in the air. He then has the chin-ups, which we've mentioned, which, to make a quick point, he actually does the 15 chin-ups first so quick that you blink and you miss them. They miss them completely.
It's literally like the schoolyard joke where it's like, want to see me run over there? Want to see me do it again? Like that type of thing.
Oh, literally. Then they said, oh, we were looking, do it again. So he's like, fine, I'll do it again, and then proceeds to break the entire gym equipment.
What do you think was his most impressive physical feat? Do you think it was doing 15 pull-ups in 1 nanosecond? Do you think it was setting several world records in track and field?
Hang on, what am I seeing? Unless there's something wrong with this stopwatch or me, he just ran the fastest 800 meters ever.
Or do you think it was his standing long jump where he jumped over the entire sand portion?
I would probably say the sand portion. But I think what the most impressive feat is him running 800 meters and breaking a world record, yet running so slowly that he somehow finishes last in a 1,500 meter race. So all he has to do is it's the last 700 meters. Like, that's it. Like, he could probably walk it and still beat the rest of the kids if he's running a world record 800 meter, and yet he somehow manages to come last.
Well, and when you see him cross the finish line, he's not making horrible time. Like, he's still jogging.
Finally.
You're dead last, Baki.
I wanted to get your thoughts on one of the lines in the episode. So Baki, throughout most of the athleticism, is in like a sweater and track pants. And then he takes them off, and
boys are oogling right off the bat.
Damn. Talk about ripped.
Yep. And the line that stuck out to me was,
paging Dr. Beefcake.
Did you
I totally missed that line.
You did. I'm just checking. Did you do the dub or the sub?
I did the sub.
Phil, I asked you to do the dub.
Oh no.
It's all good. Yeah, so I did have a feeling that was a translation, so I looked what the Japanese equivalent was, and in the sub they said, does he do drugs or something?
Yeah, I don't remember it being that appalling. But paging Dr. Beefcake, what a line.
When you were in school, did you ever say that, like in gym class? Like, did anybody ever, like, you know, pull off their tearaway pants and the class would say, like, whoa, look at this guy?
Just Mr. Pavanovich. Never to a student. Yeah, definitely. Our high school was definitely bored the background anime characters. I don't know. I can't think of anyone who was the foreground main character of the anime.
Yeah, I don't think anybody could even, like, you know, tie a world record 800 meter in our high school.
I mean, to be fair though, people might have been saying that about me, and I was just kind of, you know, head in the clouds thinking about that fight.
That's the saying, you know. If you're not saying paging Dr. Beefcake, then they're saying it about you.
Right, like if you're in your friend group and you can't find the beefcake, you're the beefcake. But I mean, that seems to be the theme of this show. It's just like, we got beefcakes on beefcake.
That's what I want that kid who said that to just show up in like every scene and be like, whoa. Code black, Dr. Beefcake. Get down here now.
I'm curious, you know, now that you've said this, like how many liberties the English dub has taken with the rest of the subs now. Because while I guess the intent is the same, it's definitely going for a bit different content, or definitely paints a different picture of the show itself.
Oh, so much. That's why I tell people to watch the English dub, because it's like, first of all, this is an audio podcast, so I can't use clips from the sub. But the English version is just so much goofier, because it's trying to like take these concepts and I guess like make them more believable to like a Western audience, and like, you know, it's a goofy show. So okay, so now moving on, we have the introduction of the final death row inmate to make it to Tokyo and get his own scenes, Sikorsky. Actually, before that, we have a little dinner scene with Mr. Tokugawa, our 11th generation businessman. You remember, who taught Baki about dynamite, and a new character.
And
Sorry,
I do have a question, because it commonly uses flashbacks. Is there like another Baki show, or is it just like they're animating flashbacks?
Oh, it's this time again, listeners. It's the segment where I explain the history of Baki. All right. So just to go super brief here. Yes, this is a continuation of the previous Baki anime. That one was from 2001. So it's been quite a long time, and it's not on Netflix. So I don't know. It's a bit of an ask to ask people to watch that one first. Yeah, I think I've probably told you this before, but Baki is, of course, the 6th longest running manga of all time, bigger than One Piece. Yes, this is not the beginning of Baki's story. This is taking place after the Ultimate Tournament, we're about 3 episodes after the end of that tournament. That's what it
seemed like, but again, without the context, it's like, it wouldn't also surprise me if they just kind of did up some black and white clips and we're just like, yeah, we'll just call this a flashback.
Yes.
Maybe that's giving the audience too much credit, but they can pick up that stuff.
Well, it's tough to keep track of everything. Anyway, so our dinner scene is Mr. Tokugawa, a new character for us, Kanji Igari.
Kanji Igari, charismatic pro wrestling superstar.
I believe is his name. He is a pro wrestler, because every fighter in the show has a gimmick, and his gimmick is pro wrestling. And he is hired some rando who I don't care about as his fighter. Can you walk me through how this dinner scene goes, Phil?
To be honest, this one was really confusing. Again, the whole conversation beforehand got kind of lost on me, but I guess they have some kind of judo master who wants to appear in the ring, which, I mean, he's in it for the money, it seems like. Like, he loves judo, but he's just really there for that big, sweet dough. And the honor. There seems to be a lot of honor about fighting in this ring.
If there's a ring and an opponent and a big enough paycheck, I'll fight anytime.
Yes, but you do realize, don't you, that none of the fighters in my arena get paid?
Yeah, but that's different. Your tournaments are famous. A win there is a huge boost to a fighter's reputation.
Yes, if you can win in the underground ring, it's very impressive. And this is Kanji Igari's fighter that he brought in.
It's an underground ring. It's very above ground for an underground ring.
You know what? Fair point.
Like I get the intent behind it, but it's quite large and very much quite an arena. But I digress. So then, of course, as you mentioned, Sikorsky shows up. And I guess he's supposed to be the kind of, Dolph Lundgren character, like to a T almost. Like there's no subtlety about what they're trying to do with this character.
Yeah.
So he comes up and he's looking for a fight, and then just again immediately with this, very evil death row gang group, just cheap shots right off the bat. I don't know.
Whoa. Hey, he doesn't do it right off the bat. First, he puts a cup on the judo guy's head.
That's true. I think it was a stack of plates, too.
You're right, a stack of plates. Very disrespectful.
And then judo guy doesn't like that, which is fair, like, I've had to carry stacks of plates before. I don't want that on my head. And then the judo guy gets up, and then he pulls out... I don't know if it's that the intention is that his hands are so sharp or something like that. But he ends up punching him in the face 3 times, and then, like, has these huge gashes on it.
So I have no idea, because you didn't. If you watched episode 2, like Doyle has metal elbows and like knives in him that lets him cut people. Sikorsky, from what I can infer, just sticks his knuckle out and is able to cut through flesh like butter with it. I have no idea.
Puts a huge just like triangle in his face. I guess he challenges this guy to kind of show their honor. But then it's not even really a fight. Like every action he takes is just like boom, boom, boom.
Well, here's the thing. Sikorsky. It's funny. I said Doyle was the worst. Sikorsky's the worst. But none of these guys care about honor in the slightest. In fact, I think they like the idea of being dishonorable and then going, ha 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 ha.
A fighter who fights only on cue should not call himself a martial artist.
I attacked you while you weren't looking.
Yeah, it's pretty brutal. And you know what? I'm now remembering too, like, it's just kind of like rejogged my memory of like how kind of like weirdly brutal these fights are, yet in a very cartoony way. In that first scene when Dorian like picks up a board off the ground and like throws it into Katsumi's like mouth.
He threw the floorboard that Retsu-sensei shattered.
Just like super random, just like gratuitous violence that is at the same time just like so cartoony and over the top. You're just like almost have to roll your eyes at it.
Yeah.
And then once again, we just have these like weird like punch slashes that just like burst his face open.
And then they go outside after Sikorsky just demolishes him. They call an ambulance. Everybody is calmly standing around. I would be pretty pissed if like the guy who cut my face open was just standing by the ambulance watching me.
Well, and that's when Kanji is like, I gotta defend my guy here.
Yeah, he waited 10 minutes or so, and then he's like...
Waited 10 minutes, wait till everything was settled, and he takes him outside, and then again just proceeds to get just like brutally defeated.
Huh? Nice sponge for an old man.
What? You're gonna pay for that, Sikorsky. Just wait. By the time I'm through with you...
Yeah, he just gets kicked in the face. It was very weirdly shown. It was like Kanji turned around, started saying like, I'm gonna get you, looked back at Sikorsky, and it showed Sikorsky with his legs up like he was laying down and about to kick you. But he must have been like 8 feet in the air. I didn't understand the blocking of that scene.
No, it was very odd. And then he he gets right into the ambulance. The ambulance is, the guys are just trying to do their job, and here comes this guy crashing in through the window. And I have to assume those windows are like pretty tough. Like those aren't just, little your standard car windows.
Do you think they buy specialty glass for ambulance cars?
I would think so. Like, you gotta anticipate, there might be some bumpy roads.
There might be a big Russian guy who might kick a man into it.
Kick a pro wrestler, no less.
Yeah. You know what, though? Probably didn't hurt. You know, he's a pro wrestler. Probably, like, has a special move for it.
I mean, it's all fake, right? So, he's obviously, like, you know, he holds his hands up to his face after he gets slashed, but there's, like, blood packets in there. He's, like, letting it drip. He's, you know, the old trick, you got to cut your forehead a bit because you got a lot of veins in there, so you just kind of let it bleed. So
Sikorsky was just helping him. He helped him cut his face a little too much. Yeah, that was good. I also just wanted to comment. I really liked Sikorsky's outfit. I thought the trench coat was a good look.
Oh, he looks great. You know, he's got that kind of like crew cut-ish look, Valerian vibe to him. That like long flowing trench coat, almost like pea coat almost. No, it's a good look. He's the only one that really also looks like his nationality. I don't want to be rude, but like, I don't know. Like everyone else I know is like there's like an American and an Irish guy. Like, well, you know. He like looks Russian. Like I believe he's Russian. The Irish guy doesn't look Irish. The Irish guy doesn't look Irish at all.
Russian. Phil, you can't just say the Irish guy doesn't look Irish because he's Asian.
No, I was gonna say all they did was gave him red hair, and they're like, let's call it a day.
You know what? That is true. I didn't realize that he has red hair and he's Irish. That it does. I wonder if that was even like a conscious choice, because like these things are usually animated in black and white first, and then I wonder if the animator was just like, oh yeah, Doyle the Irishman. So Mr.
Really quickly, the end of that last scene, Mr. Tokugawa just like watches his friend get brutalized and everything. He's like, you should come to my ring.
In my opinion, nobody is Mr. Tokugawa's friend. I think he has
fair enough.
He has a lust for violence and the ultimate male fighting each other, and that's about all that he's looking for. Yes, but yeah, that leads into the next scene. So Tokugawa is quite impressed by Sikorsky, and he takes him to the underground fighting arena, where everybody else has shown up in an act of synchronicity. So we got Doyle. Speck has broken out of jail.
Speck broke out! He broke out of his cell again!
Yanagi and Dorian, Speck, yeah. Yanagi, Sikorsky.
Doyle. I think that's fine.
Yeah, so they all show up together. I don't know if you remember this scene or this specific moment, but it is the weirdest moment of Baki I think I've ever seen, and I wanted to see if I could get your thoughts on it. So Tokugawa is trying to get people to, he's trying to get them to, like, you know, fight. Like, he wants them to fight on his rules or whatever.
And he asks what they're all here for, right? Is this the scene you're talking about?
Yes. He asks what they're all here for, and the reasons are ridiculous, as always. But afterwards, I think one of them says something like, why do we need to listen to you? And then the world starts going blurry, like the background starts fading away, and Tokugawa just starts going, no, stop, no. Nobody's moving. Nobody has done anything.
Excellent. Now you'll be happy to hear that as a reward for your having such outstanding DNA, I'm going to give you all the precious gift of knowing the taste of defeat.
Thanks, but I don't need you giving me any gift. These four wonderful guys right here are gift enough.
No, wait. What are you... No! Stop! Stop it!
Oh, everyone's saying there. He's the only one that really seems to be affected by it. I don't know if... these guys have kind of established themselves as badasses, so...
Yeah, but like, it looked like they were about to teleport to the Shadow Realm. Like, I have no idea what was happening. What do you think was going on?
Maybe just like the pure essence of just all these hot beefcakes was just like too much for this arena to handle. And it
My
just
heart,
started to affect, you know, like the entire like space-time continuum. I don't know. I can't really read it past beyond that. Like, there must be something being invoked by these
Lovecraftian beings.
No, there's, maybe it's in the dub. I wrote down some of the things there, but he's like, we're all here with these lovely ones. And it's like right after that line, that's when all the weird shit starts happening. There's some pure essence of just, lovely beefcakes. It's just, too much to handle.
It's gonna go in a different direction.
I wrote down some of the reasons they said they were there. Not all of them.
Okay.
Two I love. One guy, and again, this might be different from the actual English dubs.
Yep.
But one guy said it was the smell, which is great.
Nope, they translated that one.
I think it was the scent that drew me.
That's perfect. And then there was another one that I thought was weird, was to find warriors, not competitors. Because I'm not really sure, I understand, I guess, the intent, but I'm not really sure what the difference is in this case.
If I had to interpret it, a warrior is somebody you can kill. A competitor is somebody who taps out.
Yeah, those are the two I like the most, and then that's when they all get together. And then, boom, here comes the strongest man in the world.
The strongest boy in the world.
Oh, so sorry.
Yeah, so what do you think about Baki's entrance? Do you think it's the coolest thing ever, or just one of the coolest things?
Hey, old man.
Baki!
Can we get this thing started? Cause I'd kinda like to wrap it up quickly. Got school tomorrow, you know?
It's definitely pretty cool. But again, though, I mean, it's in the context of this guy's apparently not very strong, according to his gym teacher, so...
Yeah, this guy can't even do a friggin' pull-up.
Is there that bit of self-doubt in there, can I beat these guys? I can't even run 1,200 meters without, literally dying. Not literally dying, but becoming so tired.
Yeah, if his opponents can just run for 1,000 meters, they've got Baki.
Yeah, it's like, the old, if you've ever seen Rocky, you just gotta tire him out.
The Apollo Creed maneuver?
Yeah, you can get there in this fight in, 30 seconds, it sounds like. You do not need to spend a lot of time to get Baki tired out.
Yeah. So Baki comes in, but Baki's not the only one to come in, because soon after, Doppo Arachi and 3 of his friends, Shibukawa, Retsu, and Hanayama show up.
Yo, what's good? Thanks for sending someone all that way to fetch me.
Doppo!
I brought some friends along.
We've never met Hanayama in the show before.
Well, I was going to say, which can only be described as a phenomenal scene that is supposed to be obviously like this. Oh, look who's come, and yet there's no context. Even as someone who skimmed through the first couple episodes, I have no idea what the fuck who any of those guys were. It was just what? And they all look so weak and compared to the other guys too.
I wrote down a note that just says it's like a better version of the Avengers when they showed up.
There's one guy that's not even he's tiny compared to them. What is he gonna I bet he's gonna be that really, really smart fighter that uses.
Well, that's a Goki Shibukawa. He's the judo guy, so he doesn't need to be big to be strong. He can throw anybody.
I see.
Did you oh no, you didn't listen to the dub. I was gonna ask you, Doppo Arachi's voice actor is hilarious. It's just, I'm just gonna mention it now so I can play audio of it in the podcast, but his voice is the deepest, hey man, what's up? I brought my, it's let me see if I can do it. Yo, I'm here, and I brought my friends.
Yo, what's good?
I don't know if he sounded like that in the sub, though. Yeah.
And then, I mean, that's the episode. They're finally here. Which is also phenomenal because it makes it up to be this, big, long-awaited moment. But it's episode 3. They literally spent, 30 minutes building it up.
Yeah. And my favorite thing about this is by the time this ends, nobody even cares anymore. People this is as dramatic as it gets. It's it threads off into so many different directions, and at a certain point you're just who's even left? One guy meets another guy while he's at the shopping mall, and they have to go shopping together.
Yeah, I'm assuming it's not all of a sudden they're just going to start fighting, right? They're finally here to
No,
shit out.
we'll get a fight. I think the first fight starts next episode, but they pace them out very slowly.
A great little like intro to Baki, I think. Really get to find out his essence as like a true, young. I think at the end of the day, what they're really trying to reinforce in this episode is Baki's still just, he's the strongest boy. He's not the strongest man.
Yep, he's got a long way to go. Actually, becoming a man is very much the subplot of Fim for the season, but that's getting ahead of ourselves.
I've been through all this, and I know what I'm talking about. Forget celibacy. If you want to get stronger, do it.
So, I have two questions, actually 3 questions for you, just to tie things up for the episode. First off, did you have any questions? Did anything still not make sense? Anything that I can answer for you?
Could you give me a little brief rundown of who like the Orochi guy is?
Dopo Orochi, known as the Lord of War. So he owns the karate dojo that the initial scene takes place in. There's a big mural of him on the outside of him fighting a tiger because he defeated a tiger in one-on-one combat. He's basically the karate guy of the show, except that he had a son and now his son is the karate guy of the show, and Dopo's sort of like the badass karate guy of the show.
So wait, they're all supposed to be a different martial art.
All of the side characters, except for I think Baki and like the Hanmas are pretty generic in their fighting styles.
Well, all I was gonna say is like, how can they be representing a fighting style when they never actually show fighting? It just shows like streaks of blue light. Like I don't like how do you differentiate between like a judo kick and a karate kick if they're just streaks of blue.
That's what the narrator's for. All right. Okay. Second question for you. Now that you've watched the full episode and at least parts of others, do you think that Baki is a good show?
I gotta be honest, not particularly. I think it could be a good show if it kind of tightened it up a little bit. That's the other impression I got is just like, and this is kind of like all animes are kind of like this, but man, sometimes like what they cover in half an hour could be done in half the time, These scenes, like, they always... I'll be honest, I've watched a few animes here and there, and it just seems like some scenes just take so long to play out because they add, like, they don't flow very well. Like, you'll have a shot of, like, dialogue, and then a shot of someone moving, and then another shot of dialogue, and then another shot of action. It's like, there's no cohesion to them. It's very much like they're taking different cells of... Maybe this is more a comment to, like, anime than it is to Baki specifically, but they just feel so stilted when you watch them. And it becomes like a little training.
Yeah, it can feel like I'm reading a motion comic.
Exactly.
Oh my god! If this is off topic, but I'm watching Young Justice.
Okay.
It's basically like Aqualad, Robin, and all that stuff. It used to be a show on like Cartoon Network or whatever. Had a real budget, made money from selling toys. They had 2 seasons like that. Then the show got canceled. Fans rallied, brought it back to HBO Max. The budget, I've got to say, is probably $100 per episode now, and it is legitimately a slideshow. They had a whole arc on Mars where people communicate telepathically, and I'm convinced it's so that they didn't have to animate mouths. It's so bad.
Oh, God.
Okay, and final question for you. I'm trying to collect a bunch of user descriptions of characters in the show so that I can sort of have an encyclopedia of who's who. So I asked Jack on the first episode to do Baki. I asked Max to do Spec. So I'm going to ask you to define Sikorsky in a few sentences.
Oh, okay. The motherland never had a better son. Watch your back. He's coming for you. Looking fly as hell.
Oh, I like that. That feels more like a movie trailer. I think one that I would watch.
The Motherland Never Had a Better Son does kind of sound like a really weird propaganda film.
It almost sounds like a rom-com. Anywho. All right. Well, thank you so much, Phil, for coming on the show.
Pleasure to be on. And as much as I said I did not enjoy this show, I'd gladly watch another episode if it meant I could be on Baki Talki.
Oh, I'm sure I'll bring you back once I cycle through people. I do not have as many friends as there are episodes of this show. All right. Thank you so much, and tune in next week where we bak more Taki. All right, goodbye.